And then when he got back, he didn't know, and he invented drink.
What? Water. Yes, the first today. Yes.
Well, my first experience of America was in 1971.
When he got there, he didn't know where he was. When he got back, he didn't know where. And
it's there.
Yeah,
I wrote
there.
it out for you. I knew you wouldn't get it right. So when he got back, he. Yeah. But when it was actually Brendan. Where were we? Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Late Late Show.
What did you think of America, and what experiences did you have?
Well, my first experience of America was, as I said, was 1971 when I went off before the Jumbo, before Aer Lingus ever knew what a Jumbo was. I was on the 707. You were probably on the 707.
Exactly, I remember it well.
Of course, you were probably on airplanes earlier than that. You were probably on the
biplane, it's called. Yes,
the biplane, yes. If you can't rent it, buy it. Yes. And when I arrived, good evening and welcome to the Late Late Show. This should have been my studio here because, you know, I'm just thinking I paid every one of these people in the audience tonight. I gave them all tickets for the Red Cow. And you know,
and they gave them back.
That's right, yes, indeed. But when they heard what was on, they said they'd come and see it. But the funny thing was, when I arrived in New York for the very, very first time, I had a couple of suitcases, you see, and, you know, done stores bags. And I stepped outside the Aer Lingus terminal in New York, and I left my suitcases on the ground, and I looked at the lights of New York, which was funny because it was during the day when I arrived. But I had a few drinks on the plane. And I said, New York, I'm going to own you someday. And when I looked around, the cases were gone. Somebody had walked off with the case. But that was my first experience of America. And going back over the years.
Thereafter then, this time, what experiences did you have?
Well, it's a peculiar kind of a place, really. It'll be nice when it's finished. Where I'm living at the moment is literally out of this world. It is. It's a place called Jupiter.
Jupiter.
Mm-hmm. See, they think I'm joking, but there is a place called Jupiter.
Yes.
And it's out of this world, but it's the weather is great, and we've settled in, and we know some of our neighbours. No, we don't know the next door neighbour yet, but they're a bit distant. You know, they're somewhat distant.
Yes. And what about the kids now? You had to take them out of school here. And
I did, yeah.
Seriously, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, back in 1991, when I had this amazing encounter with the great Frank Sinatra, I did this show for them in Dublin, and I did the Father of the Bride routine, which everybody seems to keep seeing coming up again, time and again. And I was offered a contract on the spot to go away to America, and I didn't take it up because the children were much younger. That was 5 years ago, and I decided to forego it and offer it up to Holy God, to you. And I call him Holy God by the way.
He always calls me Holy God.
Yeah.
He genuflects. Pity the rest of you wouldn't take a leaf out of his book.
But the thing about it is that I eventually, the opportunity came along to go to America and try it out. And it was a career move, and my older girls were almost finished school, and the two younger boys were in a position that they could move, because all my children are Gaeilgeoirs, you see. They all went to the Irish school, and they're all fluent.
Difficult in New York,
they kind of Gaeilge.
Yes.
And going from here to, you know, from an Irish-speaking school to an American school was difficult, and they came through with flying colours.
And do they like it over there?
Oh, they love it. They love it. I mean, it's funny, you know, the two boys, for instance, now are, you know, when they went to the schools over there, you know, they were wondering, how are we going to present ourselves? And I said, look, take a leaf from your daddy's book, whoever he is, and I said, take a leaf from daddy's book, and I says, when you go into the classroom, don't even listen to their accents, drag them down to your level straight away. And that's the way it works. I know there's fellas over in Jupiter High School, you know, right, you're up your boy. My eldest boy of the two boys, Brendan and Bradley on one of his first couple of days in the school over there, went up to the teacher, and this is quite genuine, and he asked for a rubber. Now, in America, you don't ask for a rubber when you're that age, you see.
Yes.
And, you know, he had to explain it's an eraser. You know, you don't want to rub it. But it's trying to get into the different connotations of words.
Yes.
It all boils down to words.
I see. You have a new album.
I have a new album, yes,
out,
which
yes.
I was all day up in Ballina yesterday, up in Tom Kelly Studios, recording this new album, which is a request album. You know, because people keep saying to me, you know, why don't you sing more and everything else. Obviously, they're fed up with the jokes.
Yes.
And why don't you sing more? So I put together this album called Something Old, Something New, Something Borrowed,
And something blue.
and Nothing Blue. I knew I'd catch you out there.
Give us a dart.
And
have
it's
you
what?
got something from it?
From the album?
Yeah, give us a dart. Down.
Well, actually, I'll tell you what I'll do. I've brought back a song which was very, you know, almost forgotten.
I see.
But with the aid of Frank McNamara,
There he is,
over
yes,
there,
yes.
Frank might vamp this song. Can I move
Yeah,
around?
of course you can.
It's okay?
Yeah, sure, go and do your thing.
Let me see whether the audience know this one. I'll fasten the jacket.
Do you mean they need to be old to remember this one?
They have to be at least 35 and a half
Yes, they
to
are.
remember this
They are.
song. And I'd love to hear them singing.
They are. Yes, go ahead.
One of the
yes.
songs from the album.
Yes.
It goes like this. Here comes the wagon. All together.
I don't believe it.
Wonderly wagon. The most unusual wagon you ever knew.
Diddly-doo.
Not see.
Diddly-doo.
Ever knew. All together.
Diddly-doo.
Here comes the wagon. Magical make-believe wagon. Excuse me. Packed full of fairy tales and lots of good things to do. I was walking on somebody's coat. All the games we ever played and lots of songs to sing. All the toys the world has made, each fit for a king. Now you sing it, come on. What kind of a television have you got? Your legs will never be the same again. Really a treat. Come on, all together, here comes the wagon. 2, 3. Here comes the wagon. Great singer. Wonderly, sorry, I'm not dancing. Thank you. Packed full of fairy tales and lots of good things to do. One more time. Here comes the wagon. Come on, Gable. Here comes the wagon. You're nearly as bad as your woman. Wonderly, wonderly wagon. The most Gable, listen.
I was there
my
first
fault.
time.
I know you
I was
were.
there
You were
first
one.
time.
That's just one of the songs. We just decided to do that for us.
Well done. Wonderful.
Wandering wagon.
Wonderful.
That
you're
woman's
doing-
legs will never be the same again.
The poor unfortunate woman, little did she know when she was coming here tonight she was going to have that onto her.
Do you know, that program was on RTE from 1966 to 1979. And when we were recording it, we decided to have some children involved. You know, the Helen Jordan School of Dancing and Singing. And they came into the studio, and suddenly we realized they didn't know it. Because it's gone since 1979.
Of course. How could
And
they
of course,
know it?
Eugene Lambert,
Yes.
you know, and Bill Golding, wasn't it?
Yes,
Bill
that's
Golding
right,
and
yes,
poor
yes.
Nora O'Mahony,
That's
God
right,
rest her
yes,
soul.
yes.
And they were all involved on it. You know, remember George?
Yeah.
Everybody remembers George. And it's a great pleasure to be here on the Late Late Show so many years later. And Mr. Crow. Who remembers Mr. Crow?
Indeed,
They were
yes,
great
yes.
days.
And it was
But,
produced by Don Lennox, wasn't it?
it was
Don
actually
Lennox,
indeed.
that's right.
Going back-
American, lovely American.
yeah, it was
guy,
great.
lovely guy.
It was such a wonderful...
No, this nostalgia. What do you
thing.
miss most about America when you...
I probably miss... I miss fish and chips. Fish and chips, because they don't do fish and chips over in America like the Italians do here. You know, no, they fish and they chips.
Yeah.
No, it's hamburgers and it's all that old McDonald's, you know, not that I'm saying anything wrong about McDonald's, but I'll never forgive McDonald's, and I don't care. This is probably libelous, but I am probably going to sue them.
For what?
Because when they came to Ireland first, and I was a little bit heavier than I am now. What do you mean?
Sorry,
What are you
sorry,
laughing
sorry,
for?
sorry,
I was
sorry,
a little bit heavier than I
Were
am
you?
now.
Yes.
You
yes.
wouldn't notice, of course.
No,
You
I
think I
didn't
lost
notice,
weight
no.
behind my ears. And I used to go into McDonald's, and it's a funny thing over there, you know. American people, God bless them, and God love them, they're much bigger than I feel very slim compared to them. And they go into places like McDonald's, And they sit down, and that's why I'll never forgive them, McDonald's, because they had the fixed furniture. Stuff that you couldn't move back like this chair.
Yes.
And when you come into McDonald's, I'd be in with the kids, you see.
Yeah.
I bring them in. We'd have McDonald's, and they'd say, why aren't you sitting down there? Oh, well, I prefer to stand up, you know. Because I knew that the minute I sit in these chairs, and if I have a Big Mac or two, and a large fries, I just swell out, and I've actually seen the fire brigade coming to McDonald's in America to get people out of these chairs that wouldn't move back, just to try and wedge them back out again. And that's probably, you know, one of the things that I
Did you say we have a bit of tape of him 47 years ago on the Late Late Show? 15 years ago on the Late Late Show? I don't know anything about this. I don't know.
Either do I.
Have a look at this. Roll it there, Ray. Whatever this is, I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, we had a complaint. And then we arrived, you see. The gate was closed and we had to get over the wall.
Yes, that's right. We did try to
What did you say to me when...
Well, we were just getting over the wall. You locked the gate outside, and we were just straddling the wall, and Sister Sludge turned to me, she says, my God, she says, I feel like a commando up here. I said, so do I, but where do we get two commandos at this hour of the night? I enjoyed that.
Oh dear. That was you and
I
Kevin
was a
Hawke.
nun. Me and
You
Kevin
Hawke. That's right. Yeah, the
That's
old
great.
guys.
How many years ago was that? 15 years ago.
Nearly as good as Christopher Columbus, yeah.
would you
Radio Aaron, Donald LeVoux.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a nostalgic when it comes
You
to,
are, aren't you? Yes.
you know, going back over the years. And I always remember, in fact, I remember something that I hope you remember. You used to do a show for Ernie's.
I did. Dantro, the Planet Man.
Does anybody here remember Dance with the Planet
Anytime
Man?
is Ernie time.
Most people don't know Dance with the Planet. I've said
You
this
mean
to people.
no, everybody
They don't
remembers.
know Dance with the Planet Man. That's how old we are. And the thing about it is,
I've forgotten
that
so
there
quick.
used to be a thing called the Ernie Mystery Parcel.
That's right.
And I probably wouldn't have been any more than 14 years of age at the time. And I won. You used to present the program. And I worked for Brown and Nolan's at the time, the bookshop, you know, the stationery place. And I was in the dispatch department, and I used to have access to all the labels and fragile and do not turn up this way and all that. And I made up this parcel full of straw, loads and loads and loads. And the next minute, I'm listening to on a Saturday, Gay Byrne announcing the winner this week of the Ernie Mystery Parcel is Brendan Grace. And I got a big box of chocolates and everything. Gee, it was magic. Why can't you bring back Ernie's again? It was so wonderful, and I loved every second of it. Yeah, it was magic. Am I nostalgic or what?
Yes.
We used to have such great programs. You know, long before before you had, you know, 2FM and Radio 1, it was just Radio Erden.
That's right. And 208,
And-
Luxembourg.
Oh, Luxembourg. Remember the big bong? Radio
I
Luxembourg.
don't remember that.
No,
No,
I
none of
thought
us
you
remember
wouldn't.
that. No.
But Radio Erden used to have a program on a Saturday afternoon, and some of the older people will remember, about 1:45 on a Saturday, this is the Walton program.
Of course.
Remember that?
Of course.
Your weekly reminder of the grace and beauty that lie in our heritage of Irish songs, the songs our fathers loved.
Leo Maguire.
And Leo Maguire, Last Restless Song.
Last Restless,
And
yeah.
Walton's last word to all our friends at home in Ireland and across the Irish Sea, if you feel like singing, do sing an Irish song. You know, I do all these things now, and people, I feel as if I'm too old. They don't remember half of them. And you remember there was a great card. And now we'll end today's Walton program with the Bullfinian Men March Medley played by the Bamba Brass and Reed Band.
I do, yeah.
And Charlie McGee and his gay guitar.
That's right, yeah.
Of course, that's a different situation nowadays. Was it your guitar by any chance? Charlie McGee
Get
and
up
his
your
gay
guitar.
Yeah.
You want to send greetings to Mrs. Murphy?
I do, actually, yeah. Actually, the request came in to do a song, Mrs. Murphy, down in County Limerick.
Yeah.
And God bless her, she's 111.
111.
I think that deserves a special round of applause.
That's
And
111.
I said I'd sing a song for her. And this is one of the songs that you may have heard on the Walton programme. It's one of the songs about emigration, one of the tragedies of Ireland and over the years. Emigration in the 30s. And an old man over in New York reminiscing on his home back in Ireland and knowing that probably he'll never get back to visit it. If you know it, you might even sing it. For you, Mrs. Murphy. My feet are here on Broadway, this blessed harvest morn, and oh, the ache that's in them for the spot where I was born. My weary hands are blistered from toiling cold and heat. But oh, to swing aside today through fields of Irish wheat. Had I the chance to wander back or roam the kings of old, sure I'd rather see the hawthorn tree, let's hear you, down the old bog road. My mother died last springtime when Ireland's fields were green. The neighbors said her waken was the finest ever seen. There were snowdrops and primroses piled high beside her bed, and Ferns Church was crowded when the funeral mass was said. But here was I on Broadway, building bricks by load, when they carried out her coffin down the old bog road. What's that? Mrs. Murphy down in Limerick.
She's not 100. She's not
111.
She's not.
And
she's ill, it says. It's not 111. It's not 111. It's ILL. Ill.
Oh, she's ill.
She's ill. She's ill. It's not 111.
Who wrote this for everything? Who wrote this out? My kids could do better than that.
She's ill.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Murphy.
Not 111 at all.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Murphy. I hope you get better. It looks like it. I mean, look at it.
It's an ill.
It's 111 as far as I'm concerned. It looks. What sort of an? Who wrote this? My kids could do better. My kids could actually do better than this. It's a funny thing.
Apologise to the
I'm sorry, Mrs. Murphy, wherever you are. I hope you get better soon. It just looks like 111. There must be whoever's 111 watching. That song was for you from the Walton program. You know, we shouldn't be laughing.
Well, talk your way out of it.
But I know that. But you know, it's an amazing thing how you were asking me about the children earlier on. I'm always fascinated. You see, being a nostalgist, I'm fascinated about children today because, you know, going over the years, there was always this big deal made about the facts of life, and we were never ever told the truth.
Anything.
And you know, when you look at kids today, you look at children today, they have their own. I think they're born with a microchip in their mind. They know where they came from. They know how they were made. They know the whole lot. Compared to the lies we were told.
Absolutely.
I mean, I wouldn't eat cabbage. This is true now. I would not eat cabbage till I was about 23 years of age, for fear I'd leave some child homeless. This was the thing. This true, because we were always told. Like, we had a neighbour next door to us, and God love her, she was on the pill. This woman next door to us in Dublin, and which in those days was unusual. You know, she was on the pill for all of 23 years before she realised she was taking Aspros, and. That's true. Now, she had 17 kids, but she never got a headache at all during that time. And it's an amazing thing how they had a chicken running around their backyard in the Liberties in Dublin, where I lived, and I knew it was a chicken. I was convinced it was a chicken. I knew it was a... And my father, Lord rest his soul, used to say, no, that's not a chicken. That's the stork with his legs worn down to his knees. From landing outside. Like, there was never, like, I had a sister who was found in a mushroom patch. Most of my cousins were found all over the place in matchboxes. There wasn't a natural birth in our family for as long as I can remember, because we were never told the truth.
Yeah, I know.
And yet today the kids are so different.
Yes.
I mean, look at the clothes they wear. Look at the, I mean, I've seen kids now in sneakers with lights. Sneakers with lights in them. Now, I had a motorbike for 5 years and I couldn't afford a back light for the motorbike. But now they've lights and sneakers. And it doesn't matter how small the child is, with sneakers now you can pump them up as big as you like. And it all boils down to the, and I don't begrudge it to the kids today, good luck to them. I mean, we were different. You know, they've all got brand names nowadays. Our brand name was HMD. HMD.
What's that?
Hand me down. And I could write a book on hand-me-downs, I could. I'm the youngest of 9. Yes. I had 8 older sisters. And It wasn't easy. I remember arriving in school one day in the same dress as the teacher. In every respect. And I was mortified, as you can imagine. And he wasn't too pleased. Yeah, it was difficult. Difficult day.
You're doing the...
Were you fed? Were you fed as a child? Were you fed?
I
Did you have a fridge now? I'm sorry for putting you on the spot. Did you have a fridge?
Much later on we did.
We didn't have when you were a child.
Not at all.
I'm talking about years ago.
Not at all.
You were a child.
Absolutely not. No.
See, do you know why you didn't have a fridge?
We had a little safe out in the yard.
Yeah,
with
but you didn't have a fridge?
Never. No.
No, so we didn't need a fridge. Because we had nothing to put into it. Look, we were lucky if the food came into the house. Never mind the fridge. I mean, nowadays you see ads on the television. You see that if the child wants a yogurt now, they go to the fridge and it'll come out with the spoon in it. Dancing and everything else. They'll dance around them. We didn't have fridge. We didn't put it in it. And that's why we're so different. Even the games. You look at the children today, they have all these electric games. Yeah. They have to be on a screen, all kickboxing and all these Mega Drive and all that stuff. What did we get? Ludo. Snakes and blood. If I ever think of snakes and ladders and hopscotch, that was a great... Does anybody remember hopscotch?
Hopscotch.
We used to call it beds.
Yeah.
You drew out the lines, and if you had no chalk, of course, there's always statues in the house. Now, of course, you couldn't touch... Of course, you had to have reverence for the Sacred Heart and Our Lady, of course. But St. Anthony came in for some stick, I'll tell you that one. You go out, you get St. Anthony, and you hop his head off the... Ma, I think St. Anthony fell off the windowsill. His head is not fallen off. I'll put it back, I'll glue it together, and I'll leave it till afterwards. And you go out with his head. God forgive me, St. Anthony. You go out with his head, and you'd run down the street, and you'd run lines over the place, and you'd do the whole lot, and you'd wear him down to his nose. And your mother said, his chin is gone, I can't put it back. And the little thing, remember the thing you used to throw out for the hopscotch? What was it? The tin. The tin was polish. Was it polish?
Yeah, polish.
Of course, you couldn't give that to the kids now. No. No, you give them a rock or something like that. That's the way it was.
Would you go away and leave me alone? You're in the Red Cow. You're in the Red Cow for Christmas.
This is my 6th year in the Red Cow out. And by the way, tonight I want to wish them the very, very best. Tom and Sheila Moran and the family there. Opening their new hotel tonight.
Yes,
tonight, that's why he's not in the audience.
Yes.
And because he's making sure everybody gets checked in. And we have our show running there for the 6th year. Runs right through. We've actually put on extra nights.
That's because of your popularity brand.
It must be something to do with that.
No,
and we've extra nights on. Yes. We've brought it forward now. Imagine, we're starting on the 22nd of November singing Jingle Bells and Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and serving turkey.
These days that's late. What line? Line 4.
Line 4.
Hello, line 4.
Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening. Sheena Greaves calling from Antrim, Northern Ireland. I was in the Housewives of the Year in 1984, and the 6 women were all pacing up and down nervous. And Brendan was running about, and they were patting the powder in his face, and he had Gillis's holding up his socks and running about in a pair of boxer shorts. I want to know, are you still as nervous today as you are on that night?
I am, and I still have the same boxer shorts, well washed. And, you know, funny thing, about boxer shorts, do you remember years ago when your mother would always say, make sure when you leave this house that you have clean underwear on?
I do, yes.
Isn't that right?
Yes, in case you met with an accident.
In case you might get knocked down by a bus. It had nothing to do with hygiene. It had nothing to do with comfort. It was all to do, in case you get knocked. The theory being that when you'd arrive at the hospital, you'd have clean, you might have your head under your arm, or your leg over your shoulder, but you'd have clean underwear. And the theory was wrong. It was wrong, because if you think about logistics, if you are going to be knocked down by a bus, you see a bus coming at you. It doesn't matter how clean you see a bus coming towards you. I mean, it's normal.
That's the reason.
And it gets bigger as it comes towards you. You're going to, if you think about this, you're going to shout your head off, and you're going to bed. So it's nothing to do with cleanliness.
Will you go away? Go away. Red Cow for the Christmas season. Good luck to you.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. Brendan Grace, ladies and gentlemen. Well done. Well done. You're great. We'll see you again. All right. Good luck. Brendan Grace, that's it. And thank you for the $1 million. You're welcome, Phil. Very good. Now, ladies and gentlemen, to something a little more sedate but no less amusing. Knitting and Stitching Show in the RDS Simmons Court. All over this weekend. It's on today and tomorrow from 11 until 6, you see. And it's a great success. And you'll be able to see top fashion knitwear and hand-painted textiles and embroidery and lace making, all of that sort of thing. And one of the exhibitions is about 500 tea cozies which have been sent in for prizes, made by people under all sorts of guises. For example, that little one there. Do you see that little one there? The little old lady who was having a cup of tea. And the winner, that was made by a Belfast student called Hilary Bowker. And she won a prize for that. It's a lovely, lovely piece of work on knitting and stitching and embroidering and all that sort of thing. Over here, another young man, 16-year-old Aidan Gately. 16-year-old Aidan Gately from Clane made this. It's a tea cosy with all sorts of different cups and saucers on it. You see, just to decorate the teapot for the morning. It sort of cheer you up in the morning looking at a thing like this. Over here, Christabel O'Loughlin from Swords made this rather, it's quite a funky sort of thing. It's actually made from felt, and she hand-dyed the felt herself, and it certainly would brighten up anybody's sort of breakfast table in the morning. Just adds a little colour to it. Have a look at this lovely thing here. That's a very nice thing. It's an ornately stitched pagoda, and it won the Free Form Fun Award, and it was made by Mrs. Ward from Sheffield in England. Very, very decorative thing. It is, nevertheless, a tea cosy for the use of teapots and everything else. And then finally, this one here, very unusual tea cosy. It's an ethnic head. An ethnic head with embroidered hair and painted silk face. It came second in the student category. And this was designed by Hilary Lawler from Hastings. It's all part of an exhibition of tea cosies at the Knitting and Stitching Show in the RDS Simmons Court tomorrow and Sunday. And to celebrate, Hickey's Fabrics have made up a little hamper of a Celtic design. Was after this. Thank you very much indeed, ladies and gentlemen. Well done. Thank you.